So here's my review of the Klondyke House B&B, which is located in Waterville in County Kerry. It's absolutely marvellous B&B. The hosts are an elderly couple and they were very friendly. It was a B&B, so breakfast was included the following day, and the lady made some absolutely fabulous scrambled eggs and salmon, which was what I requested from the menu. And the scrambled egg was made to like chef standard. It was fluffy and stayed warm for a long time. The coffee was nice. The room was a little bit on the small side but very clean. There was no water provided, but that wasn't a big deal because the walk down into Waterville was somewhere between 5 and 9 minutes. I took a wander down there. I was tempted to have a splash in the ocean. I could see children and families swimming, but didn't quite get around to it because I was tired. I did consider doing an early morning dip as well, but that didn't work out. I was just too pressed for time to move on to my next destination. But as I say, I wandered down to the town, whereas there was a supermarket where I was able to stock up on some water. I also nipped into Dooley's pub and seafood restaurant, where I went a bit crazy and treated myself to some lobster. And I thought I would treat myself, being as I'd missed a number of evening meals and been kind of grabbing snacks and sandwiches, so not really spent a lot of money on food on the trip so far. And it didn't disappoint. I got a glass of white wine with that and also tried my first pint of Murphy's whilst in Ireland. Waterville is a super fun place. It's quite family oriented, quite a buzz, quite a lot happening down there. Lovely beach, and it was also quite popular with Charlie Chaplin, it would seem. So the experience in Waterville overnight was really pleasant, and I definitely recommend you stop there, and I could definitely highly recommend the Klondyke House B&B as a choice of accommodation. It was also a bargain, I thought, only €80. But then again, I did book it quite far in advance. I don't know what that price would have been had I tried to book it nearer to my stay. But much better value I felt than the Glendarra Inn, which was €150. And although the room was bigger, it wasn't as nice, the accommodation, I would say. But it did have the advantage, of course, of having the pub adjacent to the accommodation. So, plan today to go to Inch Beach, Ballybunion, and then on to Bunratty. I would have liked to have done a lot more and hugged the coast a bit more for the Wild Atlantic Way, but my luck had run out as far as the weather was concerned, and as you'll see in the video, the rain gets progressively worse throughout the day, so wasn't able to cram in as much as I would have originally liked to. Right, so time to get cracking and move on to our first destination. So just on the approaches to a little place called Kells, Kells, which I think is maybe by the coast. Very rainy now. Got to say, my onesie from Spada, I think it is, doing a great job so far. Keeping me dry. Yeah, it's a little bit mountainous around here. And I don't really know what is at Kells, other than I just selected it as a location so that I could continue to hug the coast. From Kells, we're heading up to Inch Beach, which I imagine on a day like this will be fairly quiet. And I would have liked to have ridden a bike on there, but I'm not sure in this weather if I fancy it. But should be able to stretch your legs, have a look at the beach. So Ireland has not been disappointing. It's slightly better infrastructure so far here than what I noticed in far north of Scotland. However, I've not been necessarily right to the tip of a peninsula, although Waterville was pretty far along, I think. So I don't know if it gets worse, but I dare say the fuel canisters I have in my bag I'm not going to need to use. So tomorrow morning I'll probably just empty them into the tank, or maybe tonight. Because tomorrow, of course, I'm cutting across to Dublin, and I'm going to park the bike in the Trinity Street car park where I've got a pre-booked ticket. I think Dublin, like everywhere else, is being invaded by barbarians these days. So I don't want to get my gear nicked, but I'll put it in the multi-story, which is under CCTV. Put my cover on top of the bike, and of course my bags are locked to the bike, and probably take any valuables with me. Nice little mountain pass thing going on here, or valley pass probably at this stage. And then check that museum out, because believe it or not, I might find some old Irish violins in there. So this trip can double up as a bit of a violin pilgrimage, which I'm quite interested in. I've made some videos on the Irish luthiers. So that would be great if I can, if they're on display and I can see them. So I see the sea down there. I think that's where we're meandering down to. Road's pretty quiet. I don't know if people fancy a day in today. Maybe those people on the roads who have the luxury of not travelling, i.e. maybe they've got a base somewhere and they're here for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever. School holidays, of course. But I can see why this Wild Atlantic Way has become as popular, perhaps, as the NC500, because it's, I'd say, equally as beautiful, but in different ways. You don't have the locks here. It's not quite as rugged as Scotland, in my experience so far. It's a little bit more developed, I think. Like the filling stations in Scotland are like really old, cranky, old, unsophisticated. Petrol pumps, but here it's all modern, pay at pump, you name it. And almost every filling station, certainly in the bigger towns, has a mini supermarket attached to it, like the equivalent of M&S Food, but bigger, and it's called Super Value. I think there might be more than one chain. This is quite beautiful. And usually you can take a leak as well. So yeah, convenience. Now I've got to say, although I was hoping to not have rain on this trip, it's actually a welcome sight, because we've been through such a prolonged drought in the UK, and I understand there's been, to a lesser extent, there's been a drought here, because you can see all the grass is like burned yellow. It's been really hot here too. They reached about 30 degrees, and shout out to the French chocolatier guy that I met and spoke in French with as I exited the Caha Pass. Wow, that's beautiful down there. Quite secluded down there. I think I have passed my location, so I'm going to need to put Inch Beach into my sat-nav. Maybe I should stop and do that safely. So, yeah, oh, there's a dolmen of some sort. Okay, so maybe I missed the turn to go down to Kells, but that's fine. So let's just go straight to Inch Beach, where we can see plenty of beach. Oh, bugger. Can't go down the gears when the bike stopped. Stupid. Okay, let's turn these cams off now.
Standing here on the famous Inch Beach, where you can ride your bike on the sand.
different things we see. Then we wonder for a moment, what is life worth to you and me? It is worth much more than just living. For the pleasures that we see, yeah. Could we all remember always? It is our right to live life free, yeah. People, let us just get happy. Let togetherness prevail. Love your brother and your neighbor. That's the reason why we are here. Oh, people, let us just get happy. Let togetherness prevail. Love your brother and your neighbor. That's the reason why we are here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
So we've just filled up here in Dingle, and there's no such thing as a waterproof onesie because I'm drenched through. Anyhow, next stop, Ballybunion, and after that we'll go straight up to Bunratty to the accommodation.
Bye.